you can celebrate within yourself, with your family, with your loved ones. But it is very, very important to feel happy.
काम तो करना है,
हाँ.
काम तो करना पड़ेगा, या खुश होके कर लो या खप के कर लो, up to you. I think the time that I really celebrated out was when I actually got a job.
Oh.
I remember the first check, I just passed it on to my parents. And I was eagerly waiting for the second check, right? Because
Took me a while to understand that what people think about you is actually not that important.
once you stop thinking of what the others think of what you're doing, I think you're fine. As long as you are happy doing what you're doing.
Hello and welcome back to Wisdom Whispers with Abhishek Mittal. So far in the series 1, we have touched quite a few soft skill topics like professionalism, relationship building, pivotal role of pivot, reading as an habit, and solution mindset. So in this particular episode, we will not talk about soft skills. We will like to talk about that how and why we should celebrate oneself. It's such an important topic that today we will have two guests with us rather than one. Before we get into the introduction of the guest, let me just put up a very good quotation by Oprah Winfrey that the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is life to celebrate. So it's such a good quote that celebrating oneself is crucial for personal growth and well-being. Acknowledging your achievements, big or small, fosters a positive self-image and boosts confidence. It reinforces a sense of accomplishment, right? Motivation you to overcome the challenges and pursue further success. Celebrating oneself is not about arrogance, but about appreciating the journey, finding joy in the progress, and fueling the motivation to reach even greater heights. So let's quickly welcome our guest today, and I will just introduce the guest to all of you. So my first guest is Jayant. So Jayant has more than 16 years of corporate experience. In his current role, he's working with a Big Four as a strategy and value creation senior manager. And the second guest is Rahul Todi. He's a cricket enthusiast and a big-time Shah Rukh Khan fan. Has more than 14 years of corporate experience. In his current role, he's working with a Big Four as a senior manager in the transaction advisory services. He enjoys traveling and meeting new people and trying new cuisines. He's a big-time foodie. Hi JJ, hi Rahul. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Abhishek. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Abhishek. Nice to be here.
Great. So before we get into the topic, would like to understand your corporate journeys before. So maybe we can start with Jayant. Alphabetically, his name comes first. So
Absolutely. Actually, you covered it a little in my intro, and I was overwhelmed. Thank you for the introduction. It was great. About my corporate life, 16 years, thorough M&A professional. Started my career with investment banking, 3 years in investment banking. Post that, I have been a management consultant. Hopped on a lot of roles, and really learned in every role, and have now I'm a senior manager in the transaction advisories as well. That's a
Great.
brief about me.
Thanks, Jayant. Over to you, Rahul.
Yeah, so as you said, right, about 14 years now in the corporate world. I started off as directly from campus as a management trainee. I did a lot of strategic consulting, valuations, business modeling, diligence, and it was all sort of pre-deal sort of work that I did in my prior role. Post that, I moved to post-deal sort of work where I am right now, and I've been here. So it's more or less I've covered the entire spectrum of transactions. So that's more or less about my journey here.
Great. Thanks and welcome again to the show. I think that's the only serious discussion we had now. So going forward, because we are discussing a very sensitive topic where it's so important to celebrate yourself, right? When you're in a corporate environment, because people talk about, I'm not able to take time for myself. I'm stressed on the work environment. I have so many things to do. So it's such an important topic. And before we really get into it, I would like to know from both of you that if you remember, what was your first celebration and how you celebrated it?
I'll have to ponder over it, to be honest. It's been a while. If you have to first celebrate and you have to associate with my corporate life, I think the time that I really celebrated out was when I actually got a job.
Oh,
It was it was a proud moment. And I also remember, I mean, two things that I vividly remember was one, when I got the job, and then when I got the first check, right? And at those times in my company, right? So if you are not coming the entire month, you'll get a check and not a paycheck in
Account
your
in
account. And I remember the foolish me. I was so happy, having the check on my computer screen. I was like, oh, this is my first income. And then my senior came, hey, you cannot do it like this. I had no clue whatsoever. But what I did from that, of course, bought a lot of things for my family. And when I went home and gave those things to my family, the joy that it gave to them and from their eyes to me was very, very satisfying. And that
Ah.
that actually was the biggest celebration that I could ponder over and think.
Great.
I think very similar to JJ's actually. So I'll talk about two things, and very very early in my career. I think the first was when uh, I got a summer placement, and that actually meant that you would get money, right, for the
Yeah.
first time. And it was a 2 month summer placement, and so the first check came in. I remember the first check, I just passed it on to my parents, uh, and I was eagerly waiting for the second check, right, because that is where I'd planned what we do. So I was still doing my MBA, and we had this bunch of friends, and we'd planned long ago that with our whatever we earned during our summer placements, we'll actually go to Kashmir and Ladakh and do that. So the second check actually helped me do that. So that is one bit of it. But I think the real joy, right, that actually came when I finally got a job, and again that was through campus. uh, it meant a lot because I passed out in 2009, right?
Mhm.
And that was when the entire financial markets had collapsed, and I majored in finance, right? And I still remember it was a nightmare those days, just to get a job. We from our prior batches, we'd seen our seniors how they got placed, but come our time, it was entirely different, right? There was one company, you'd had all the people make a beehive to just to get selected. I remember my interview process went on for the entire day, and there were
Oof.
3 rounds and 1 hour each. And what started in the morning, I got to know at about 8 in the evening. And throughout that entire day, where the entire batch, about 100 people sat through, I was the only one who was selected. And I still remember I had a tear in my eye, and it meant a lot, right? Now, how did I celebrate? It was not only me. I still remember those times when it was so difficult to get a job that everyone in our batch used to be happy for the other when it was so difficult. I remember, and it became a tradition that anyone who got a job, everyone, whoever drank actually. So we used to drink just, everybody was happy for the other person.
Mhm.
So, these two memories are very, very strong with me. And, that's how I celebrated. Yeah.
Great. Some lovely stories.
By this story, I am reminded of my day, right? The day that I got the placement, I was carried on a lot of shoulders because I was the only one in the group, who got placed, and nobody expected. I was not a top ranker or something like that. इसकी भी नौकरी लग गई है? And it actually just flashed,
Yeah.
when you said these things, and had a great time.
Great. Great. So, as you have already shared your stories, right? But those were quite quite naturally it came to you when you really get placed, right? But when you enter into a corporate world, the things are a little different than what you have expected early part of your career, right? When you are in the campus. So how did you learn to celebrate yourself when you get into the corporate life? Or was it like it was your personal calling, or somebody guided you during that time that, oh, you should celebrate yourself, or it's personally came to you that, oh, like I should celebrate myself?
You know, if I can take that, yeah.
Yeah, go
So I
ahead.
think for me, it was more of somebody guided me actually. And I was very, very bad at, celebrating myself. And it is only when my wife made me realize that if you don't do this, you really miss out on the small things in life which matter to you. Right? All of us, we are striving towards something, right? They are these small milestones, achievements which we aim to achieve, right?
Yes.
And when we get those, if you do not celebrate those, you really do not motivate yourself to go further.
Yeah.
She guided me, and that is when I started to celebrate. And celebration is nothing lavish, right? You can celebrate within yourself, with your family, with your loved ones. But she said to me, it is very, very important to feel happy
Mhm.
for what you achieved, and that happiness should come out. It's not that, oh, I strived to get to this place, it's happened, fine, let's move on. That shouldn't be the case. So for me, it was more
Guided.
guided by somebody else. But I'm really happy that she did that. Because now at this point of time, I really look back. There are few moments which I've missed in my life early on. But yeah, now I make it a point that whatever those small moments, and it could be really small, yeah, like even completing a project, yeah.
Mhm.
But if that gives you a sense of satisfaction, you should celebrate.
Nice. Do you have anything to add?
I'll take a little different angle. For me, of course, first 2 years it was just settling into the corporate life. It's challenging, right? Consulting business or investment banking, as a matter of
Mhm.
fact, it's very challenging. And without knowing much, I entered into that, and it was tiring every day. So first 2 years, went off like a blip. You really used to see, the sun. Uh, you wake up in the at night and are going back at night. So, but come 3 years once I have been there, I took a step back and realized that, hey, I mean, actually, I'm stressing myself a lot, and celebrating a milestone or anything is one thing, but celebrating and being happy while you are working is also equally important. And so for me as a person, of course, the work that I do should give me satisfaction, but the people that I am with, the people who I'm working with, are the most important people in my life, because then I'm actually making sure that I'm with people who are happy, who are making me happy, and I'm actually gaining energy out of it. So it's very easy for me. The other person is either draining energy out of you, or is actually gaining. Am I gaining energy? The
Mhm.
moment I gain energy, there is some sort of celebration. So I have a famous saying in my team would know that काम तो करना है,
Huh.
काम तो करना पड़ेगा, या खुश होके कर लो या खप के कर लो, up to you.
Yep.
Right.
Up to you, right? You can choose कि क्या करना है. So I always say this to all the new joiners, right? You can stress this out, but if you find those moments, or even if, right, going out for a coffee
Yeah, yeah.
break,
Why not?
that water cooler chat, right? If it can bring a smile, then your projects are always would be strenuous, right? It is work at the end of the day. So yeah, so for me it's like small jokes here and there, and just making sure that you step out of your chair and go around, meet people that'll give you positive energy. That's how I celebrate.
Yeah. So even because of this, now I can relate to certain examples which I have faced. Like, because I was also in consulting before this, my current role, and we used to have project calls, right? And when you complete a project, you get some good feedback. So it's how you celebrate that. It's not that you have to really celebrate by shouting it or by going out, but is it like you are stepping away from your chair, you're going to your friends, the people who are friends to you,
Exactly.
and you're sharing it, and they're also happy and you're also happy,
Yeah.
right? And that's what you said, like you have people with whom you share and you gain energy from them. So
Absolutely.
so that's very important. Okay, so another now from this I've covered this in my intro as well, that sometimes this is also taken as an arrogance sometimes, right, when people do celebrate themselves. So uh, this has been so to draw a line between celebrating oneself and the arrogance, right? What have been your guiding stick? ये समटाइम पीपल डू थिंक कि अच्छा यार ये तो कुछ ज़्यादा ही खुश है. Is it really that important?
I think I don't know if arrogance is the right connotation, because yeah, you're right. I mean, if I am construing it as arrogance, somebody's success or the repeated success or repeated celebration that he gets,
Yeah.
अरे यही करता रहता काम करता
हाँ,
right?
हाँ.
So it's more the notion or the perception of the other person, right?
Yes.
While it's important, and that it happened to me, it happened to a lot of, and I'm sure, because we think that how people would think about me, right, while I'm doing things.
Yes.
And that kind of either tones us down, or would do more celebration or anything, right? Took me a while to understand that what people think about you is actually not that important.
Yep.
I'm still learning.
Yep.
I'm still learning because we pay a lot of attention to
Societal,
what
yeah.
Yes.
Rahul will think about me, what Abhishek will, I should not do like this. As long as it is in the construct of the corporate world, and right now we're talking
Mhm.
corporate right now, it's okay, right? It's okay to to celebrate, right? I mean, I remember my days in the office, when it was celebration was as just everyone on the floor will just clap without no rhyme or reason. It's somebody's birthday down in the corner of the bay. We don't even know we are sitting at the corner of the bay, but
We heard the clapping और हमने भी बजानी शुरू कर दी
बस
बस.
बजानी शुरू कर दी. So a lot of people like
Uh-huh.
and and some arrogance was said कि once you are senior वो अपनी चलाता रहता, right? But I think over a period of time, when you realize that it's not important what others think, and it's okay if you are happy. At the end of the day, you are the human body, and you need to make sure that you are happy. It's all okay. I don't associate that with arrogance.
I think one really good point which JJ pointed out, right? Nobody celebrates to be arrogant,
Mhm.
right? It's just the what others perceive of you, right? So if you're doing that, you're actually being arrogant. You're not celebrating, right? So it's two different things,
True.
right? So as JJ said, right? Once you stop thinking of what the others think of what you're doing, I think you're fine. As long as you are happy doing what you're doing. If you're just doing it for the sake of doing it so that somebody notices, that's not celebration, right? So if you're celebrating, you need to be happy. And I think that itself draws the line between celebration and arrogance.
Yeah. That's it.
Great. I think it's important that you celebrate yourself and you just don't think what people are thinking about you.
But it is not easy. The key is that, and I'm still learning. I'll be honest. I've learned a lot from my friends who are who are like that, and that is, it's still a journey that I'm trying to because I always think and it's not about
Yeah.
only the corporate lifestyle, but in anything in life, if you are you don't pay to hoots that okay what this guy would think or what this, because those are not important. People who are important to you should be the people you should really fear about, okay, what he or she will think.
Your close friend circle, your
Whoever is important to you.
close corporate friends, family.
Other than Matt, वो कहते हैं ना वो चार लोग क्या सोचेंगे, ये भी हम ही सोचे तो वो क्या सोचेंगे. तो
But to JJ's point, right? So it's not easy because we humans are brought up that way. Human behavior, psychology, right? 3 Idiots taught us
Yeah.
that I am fine as long as I fail, right? But अगर मेरा दोस्त पास हो गया तो मुझे ज़्यादा दिक्कत है.
और आज भी होगी.
Exactly, right? So we, it is very important to let go of what others are thinking. But at the same time, what I feel is important is you should be mindful of the fact,
Mhm.
especially in the corporate world, right? Because at one point of time, 2 or more people may be vying for the same thing, same position,
Yes.
right? One may get it, one may not. One may get it, many may not, right? Many may get it, one may not. Of all who get it, right, they should be mindful of the fact that somebody has missed out on that race, right? Though he will get there, he or she will get there eventually, but then you should be just mindful. You should be, I wouldn't say sympathetic or empathetic,
Yeah.
right? That's not the right word, but you should just be mindful while you celebrate. You should just, be
You're not
mindful
hitting
that
the emotions of someone else,
exactly,
right?
right? So,
So-
as long as you're maintaining that distance,
Yeah.
I think you're fine.
No, true.
Right. Next question is that, so moving on. So when you started and at the current juncture of the corporate life, right, how the celebration has changed over the time? Because I know, like what you said, right, the people put you on the shoulders when you got placed, and right now it's a different kind of celebration. So how it changed over the period?
So, see, for me, it started with very different, right? Because we just went out of campus
Yeah.
and there was more emotion in that. But then, as I said, right, I was not much of a person who would celebrate. And in the initial part of my career, I really did not celebrate a lot of my successes
Mhm.
or a lot of my milestones. I did not. Till until, obviously, Anshu, my wife, she sort of guided me that it's important. So for me, it's been a welcoming change, actually. So from not doing something to now doing it, I still, I'm very personal at celebrating. And for me, celebrating is not throwing a party or doing
Uh-huh.
anything, but
You're not required.
just, recognizing that you've done something good, something's made you happy, just recognizing that, probably have a small dinner with family. That's how I celebrate. So from not doing that to doing that right now, right? Recognizing it's important, because you need to constantly sort of motivate yourself, right? That you're doing something right. You've strived to achieve something, right? And you got there. And I firmly believe you need to have these, goalposts in life,
Yes.
right? So till until you don't have one, you won't strive sort of to get there. At times you do run out of goalposts, but then start creating these smaller goalposts. Yeah. So I think for me that's the journey, right? From not doing something to now doing it and acknowledging the fact that it is important. So yeah.
I think for me, it has changed significantly, just the realization of how important it is,
Mhm.
right? Uh, I, was not a, I do celebrate it, right? The bigger milestones, right? A promotion or a great success of project when you get a great feedback or something like that. Those were some bigger milestones. But as time went by, I realized that smaller things in corporate life as well as personal life is equally important to celebrate. The celebrations could be different, right?
Mhm.
It's so why it is important is, I'll tell you why. My theory about it, because it puts you in a happy state of mind, right? That, and for me, the purpose of life is being happy, right? If I'm happy what I'm doing, what I'm where I am, that's more important. So whatever, wherever you go, whatever things you are doing, and if you are recognizing it, I have done it,
Mhm.
and let's now, take a pause and really celebrate it. And therefore that will put a pause and put you in a happy space. That's very important for me, and therefore it has changed. It's more frequent now. So it would be like, a promotion, you would know, like, would take 2 years or 3 years, right? And then, you're really
Obviously.
celebrating, and in the midst of those 2 years, you're really slogging yourself, making sure that goalpost is, as I also said, goalpost is getting achieved. But now, when you mature, you say, okay, oh, good feedback on this project, which is like, 1 week, 2 week, oh, let's go out and, celebrate. And celebration could be a small cup of tea or coffee,
Right.
tea or coffee, and having a, you did great on the, I did great on the project, what was that, yeah? And just talking about it and really saying it was fun project, I really drained my energy on that project, but the results are to be seen. So that I've realized that it is, for me, it is now more frequent, and therefore I'm more in a happy state.
Right. And I can also share a couple of my stories here. So similarly, I also have always had goalpost in my career that, oh, I would like to, from an analyst to a senior analyst to a manager to a senior manager, right? And you also put timelines around it.
Yeah,
और
absolutely.
वो नहीं होता है तो then it's disheartening,
Yeah.
right?
It's natural.
Natural.
And you
right?
compare as well. अरे यार, मेरा दोस्त पहुंच गया, what to Todi's point.
Yeah, right. So when I was in my first organization, and I became a manager, right? So I celebrated. I celebrated with my team, because when you become a manager, you have a team behind it. You are not alone, and that team has helped you to be a manager.
Yep.
So I celebrated with them. And it was not that कि जबरदस्ती पार्टी ले ली, वो नहीं
Exactly.
था. वो भी होता है, right? It was from my inner self कि
Oh,
अच्छा हाँ
absolutely.
चलते हैं, बाहर चलते हैं, we will just go out, we'll have a coffee, or we will eat out. That's it. It was not a formal party as such, but that was one. But when, like in the later part of my career, right, and one of my leader told me that, Abhishek, you have achieved a very big milestone now. You should do something for yourself, right? Take your family out for dinner and that's fine, but do it something for yourself too. Buy a small gift for yourself, then you will appreciate what you have done in the last 2-3 years. And that's very important. That's a very big learning for me, and I'm very appreciative of that leader who told me that.
It actually happened for me as well.
I
One of
think
the
I need
leader,
to go back and buy something for myself.
no, but I think one of my leader also told me it's a huge achievement. Of course, well, I said the team is, of course, behind it. I'm just honored enough to, take them on their behalf. What he also said to me, that go back and you need to enjoy it for yourself
Mhm.
and with your family as
Yeah.
well, because they are the backbone
Yes.
of what you are, what you have achieved in your professional life. So yeah, I completely concur that.
हाँ, because काफी इन्वेस्टमेंट होती है आपकी फैमिली की, राइट? इट्स नॉट जस्ट यू हु हैव अचीव्ड इट. And we get to see with all these people who have achieved a lot,
Yeah.
they always talk about that this is because of my family, and that is true. So you need to celebrate with them, but
True.
for yourself as well, it's
Yeah.
you should feel important on at few occasions, right? And just
So
do
let
it
me
for
ask you,
yourself.
what is the most expensive thing that you bought yourself?
For me,
Expensive, not in terms of money, but really, which is close to your chest.
I cannot think about a concrete thing as such, but I can easily say that I have bought some time of my family for myself,
Amazing.
right? Because it's in your daily life, it becomes very difficult to spend quality time with them. Absolutely, you have 2-3 hours here and there to spend, but go out with them for a week, for 2 weeks, and then you realize that I know COVID ने सबको कुछ ना कुछ realize करा दिया with family, but still you still need that time when you can go out and you don't have your family has nothing to do with कि cooking करना है या घर में क्या हो रहा है. You just enjoy, and that's a time I think I have bought for myself and for my
Amazing.
family.
Amazing.
That's how it has changed
Yep.
over the years. So okay, now थोड़ा serious जाते हैं, right? So like you both have long careers, and it's not always a success which hits you, right? There will be or there would have been occasions where the day was tough or the year was tough. So have you celebrated that? Because there is a learnings coming from it. Not everything is a success, right? There are failures, and from failures taking out learnings and celebrating it in a different way. Naturally, you will not go loud with those celebrations, but क्या बोला है कि अच्छा हाँ इससे बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला, and let's go and have a cup of coffee.
Yep. So, if I recall, probably I can talk about two instances. Yeah. One was very, very early in my career. I think within the first 6 months or so. And it was a big goof up. And I was sort of, I was on the receiving end from the client, right? And I didn't like it at that point of time because I was too young at that point of time. I didn't know what is going to happen now. But then it taught me a lot. Yeah, it taught me to be more diligent in whatever I'm doing. Right, it made me more. It made me put a lot more effort in whatever I'm doing. Right, so from the next day onward itself, I was very, very much more conscious on what I'm giving or what I'm delivering. Right, so that was a very important learning, and that has continued. And now when I look at it, I think if that would not have happened, probably I would have been a lot more carefree, and probably the result would have been a lot worse, right? So that was one. I think the second thing happened about 6 or 7 years into my career, right? So from then till that point, I think I had a very good time, probably, and all my milestones were achieved as I wanted them to, and I was having a really good career. That was the first stop that happened when I had desired something and it didn't happen. I was very disappointed at that point of time. Obviously, I couldn't appreciate it at that point of time. But later on, I appreciated that was very important, because if you only move up, 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 you don't realize that it's important to go down. I went down at that point of time, and then I realized that at times you need to work harder to go up, right? And I really appreciate both of these instances now, right? And even at the time that they've happened, then you don't really appreciate it, right? To your question, you only appreciate it at a later time, right? At a later date, right? But I think those are very, very important. You need to learn from your mistakes, the first instance, and you need to learn from your failures as well. I won't say the second one was a failure. It's just that you have expectations of yourself, right? Your own goalposts.
Yes.
And as you said, right, you set timelines as well to get to those goalposts. It's not that I didn't get there. I just got there a year later, right? So I think it's totally fine. But then what it teaches you, that's more important. And I think one thing that it teaches you is to be humble. At times when you're running a race, you really don't realize that, when you get everything what you want, you sort of, are happy. You don't realize that you need to put in that much effort, to go there. So I think those two instances are something which I remember very clearly.
सब कुछ autopilot पे चल रहा है and
Exactly. I think at times you need that stop.
break लग
Yep.
जाता है.
Very similar to what Rahul said. Especially the first 8 to 9 years of my careers was a breeze. It was very good, and then it just hit a roadblock. I'll be lying, right, if I said that during those tough times, I was celebrating. I was happy, in the happy state as I was not. I was stressed at that point in time, and celebration to दूर की बात रही उस समय पे, right?
Mhm.
Everything was more of a, yeah, I was not able to reach that milestone that I had set for myself. But as Rahul said, that post now, when I sit back and look back that period, I'm thankful that happened, because that gave me a lot of learnings, and now I'm able to celebrate or appreciate that more, right? And now when I look at it more mature, right, that your career is, a journey, right?
Mm.
A small bump should not be the end of that journey, right? Those bumps are ought to happen, and they should happen. They'll keep your speed in check. That's the most important thing.
Because career, it's not just 5-10 years, right?
Yep.
Depending
It's
on
25 30
20,
years
25, 30 years,
of career, right?
सब कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, and there will be hurdles. And now, if you both look at it, right, now if you fail or something is not meeting your expectations,
You're
then
better prepared, right?
then you're prepared, and you know
Exactly.
कि इससे भी कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा.
Exactly. Yep.
Exactly.
It's not the end of the world.
Right. And once you have those instances, you appreciate, yaar, there's a famous quote, I don't know by whom, but once you understand, this too shall pass.
Yes.
Exactly.
You are very happy, everything is hunky dory, everything is good, this too shall pass.
Mm.
You are stressed in your life, there is nothing going right, this too shall pass. Everything would eventually will go ahead and move into a better direction.
Yeah. Okay. So one last question about from this segment is, so we have heard so many stories. Like, from these stories or from anywhere else, do you have any biggest corporate celebration which you have done for yourself?
Biggest corporate celebration, when you say corporate celebration, do you mean
Like
with
the corporate
team?
milestone or project, or where you have really celebrated your heart out, right? That yes, I have done that, and then you have celebrated that moment. It needs not to be a very vibrant and big celebration, but yes, this is something where I would have.
I think the one that I celebrated probably, and as you say, right, is after that first failure, the
Mhm.
second failure that I said, right, where I didn't get to where I wanted to, but once I got there,
Mhm.
I think that was a huge relief, and then I did celebrate actually. I went out with friends, I went out with family, I went out with extended friends, and then I remember we went out, as a group of friends, for a night out. So that is when I celebrated a lot, because that came after a bit of a struggle, right?
Yes.
Now when I recall, it's not a struggle, but then at that point of time for me, that was a struggle, right? That phase. So once I got there, at that point of time, I thought, I've
ये तो
achieved something,
मैंने
right?
कर लिया
This
दुनिया
is,
मुट्ठी में.
I have scaled the Mount Everest, right? So obviously now when you think of it, it's all this thing trivial, right? But it was really, really important at that point of time. And as I said, even the failure before that was important, and then the success that happened, that was important. But I think that was a very, very important phase in my career.
My first promotion, I so vividly remember that I celebrated my heart out, called everyone, whoever I knew, and we celebrated the entire night, and then the next night, and then the next night, just making sure that I really, really felt happy about it. The mature self would not wait for that milestone now, right? May not be that lavish celebration, so to say, but eh, on Monday, there would be some gossip or something around. I'll take a couple of people to coffee, or a tea or whatever, and I'll make sure those 10 minutes are well spent, and we are celebrating each other life, or a milestone, or a goalpost, or anything, right? Small things. So I would not wait for a promotion or a big milestone to happen to really celebrate. And in fact, celebration, I said, to make sure that it brings me happiness. So I'll choose, or just pick those things, or pick those people which will give me happiness, and vice versa.
So that's for this section. So thanks a lot for bringing your heart out and discussing those personal examples. Right, that's so good to hear that. And with that, we'll move on to the last section, which is more personal section, where we will talk more about Jayant as a person and Rahul as a person, and not talk about celebration. So this time we'll start with Rahul.
Thank you.
So, how would your loved one describe what you do?
Okay, so when you say what you do is your work,
Yes.
they find it very confusing. They really don't understand what I do. And I've tried explaining them what I do, but now the easiest thing to say to them is, I go to work, right? So I think that's it. Yeah, it's very difficult to define what a consultant does. I would put it at that. Yeah.
One advice you would have given to yourself when you would have been at the age of 20, if you would have to give one advice.
So one advice that I would have given then or now?
Then.
So then when I was 20, one
Yes.
advice that I gave to myself when I was 20.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I really don't think so. I really had the time to give myself advices. We were lost, right? At 20, I remember, at least I just took life, as it was coming. I remember there were tough times. So probably the advice that I would have given, I really don't remember, is just to stick it out, right? I think that is the thing that I would have said to myself. There were really tough times. There were problems within the family, elsewhere, but I think during that time, the thing that I would have said to myself is, just hang on. To Jain's point, right? This too shall pass, right? And as in my intro, you described me as a huge Shah Rukh Khan fan. I really take a lot of, inspirations from his movies. So there was this movie Om Shanti Om, which came out much later, actually, in 2007. But there was this dialogue, right, which says, at the end, everything shall be okay.
Yes.
And agar nahi hota, then that's not the end.
Mhm.
So I think probably at 20s, I would have said myself this exact same thing.
Mountains or beaches?
I think both. I like mountains. I have studied in Darjeeling, so I've had a huge exposure to mountains. I like beaches as well. So I think if I had to sort of treat myself to vacations, it would be one mountain, one beach, one mountain, one beach, in this way.
And how many vacations you take in a year then?
Well, I try to take one big vacation. It could be international or within India, but that's like 7 to 10 days sort of. Other than that, two smaller vacations, which are like closer hills, which are there around, and one or two sort of vacations where I would normally go and visit families. So yeah, that's sort of, again, COVID sort of upsetted a lot of those calculations. But yeah, I feel vacations are very important, and since I like traveling a lot, I like meeting people, trying new cuisines. I think it's very important. It gives you a new perspective. It gives you it shows you a different world as well. Even within India, I mean, the landscapes are so different. The people are so different. The food is so different. And I think it is your experiences, that the only thing that you take away from life is your experiences, right? So hence, I feel the more I can travel, the better. But yeah, this is what I do right now.
Quickly moving on to Jain now.
Ready, sir.
Shoot.
Yeah. How you define success?
I think the meaning of success should change. A lot of people attribute success to money, to power. When I'm saying power, to a position.
Mhm.
For me, success now, the wiser me would say, is being happy. If you are happy, satisfied with what you have, that's success for me.
So okay, and like how you unwind yourself. So what you do to come back to life?
No, travel. Last year it was the 1 year where I traveled a lot. Out of the 12 months, 9 months I was out somewhere, either a short trip or a long trip.
And I hope your leaders are not listening to this.
Was the weekends, right?
Now you're clarifying it.
But yeah, I have already started. So one is already done in January. February is just started. So I'll make sure that this time it's 12. And the other thing I really love and enjoy is to be with dogs. I trained myself to be a dog trainer.
Okay.
And these furry balls really give me a lot of happiness. So I enjoy being amongst dogs.
Okay. Any subscription you have outside of OTT?
Subscription, Audible, to audiobooks, if you don't consider
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I can't read. That's the best way to put me to sleep.
Okay.
So I listen to books.
Okay. Uh, same question, right, to you. I know a bit of answer, but still, uh, it's will it be Goa or will it be hills in
Both.
both?
Both. There's so many landscapes, right? There's so many things to see in life. So right now, I mean, last year or year and a half, I've just got onto trekking and just enjoyed every bit. So one thing that I've learned after traveling a lot is, for me, it has to be activity driven.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am on a beach and just looking at the beach beyond the point, I'll get bored. So I'll either do kayak, or I'm doing surfing, or I'm learning surfing rather. So I have to do something. And similarly, when I'm in the mountains, I have to be, some physical activity has to be attached to it for me to enjoy really. So
I know you have traveled a lot outside of India too. So you enjoy traveling within India or outside? More.
both. As I said, I mean, travel. Why do we? I mean, it's boundaries, right? That separate us, right? So traveling in, I mean, what 40 years, and there's still so much to explore within India.
Yes.
So much to explore within India. But I've equally enjoyed my stays in Australia or US or Germany, right? So the three places that I've spent maximum time in,
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed myself there as well. But I really also enjoy a lot in India.
Okay. One last question before we close this is,
Sure.
if you have to pick one brain
Hmm.
for to discuss something, or if you want to like know more about that, so whose brain will be?
My friends, the three musketeers,
Musketeers.
as we call, a lot of people call us. So any idea that we get, anything that we had to discuss, any venture, I mean, any venture that we have to, तूने सोच लिया, ठीक है, अच्छा ये कर सकते हैं, हाँ हाँ. So we kind of pick each other's brain and like, ठीक है, go ahead. So the confidence that we have, that there would be no judgment,
Mm-hmm.
there'll be honest feedback कि नहीं यार, नहीं बकवास है, this is not good. So that is the most important thing when you are picking someone's brain, so that the honesty should come out. So that's why, my friends.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks, JJ, for being a part of the show. It was
a pleasure.
Pleasure talking to you.
Same here, Abhishek. Thanks for having us here. I
Thanks
think
for
it was
having
really
us.
amazing. I had a really good time.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
so much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Abhishek.
Thanks. So this was our last episode of the series 1 with Jain, and Rahul Todi on the importance of celebrating oneself. The conversation was quite different from our other episodes. When I look back, I can easily pick up a number of learnings, like focus on your achievements, find joy with the best moments of your life, pick learnings from your failures, right? It also helps in boosting confidence. So we will keep bringing you some more food for thought ideas in our upcoming new series, right? If you enjoyed this episode, do let us know. Also, if you have any feedback or want us to pick up a certain topic, please reach out to us on Gmail, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Below are the links. Also, do remember to share it with your friends, family, and colleagues. And also to like, subscribe to us if you are watching it on YouTube, and follow us if you are listening to this on an audio platform. This is me, Abhishek Mittal, signing off for now. We will be back next week with another episode of Wisdom Whispers with Abhishek Mittal. Thanks. See you soon.